Welcome back to Invincible Jacksons. My name is Tori. If you are new here or don't recognize this channel is something I've created to show my appreciation for the Jackson family and all their awesome contributions in hopes of helping to keep their legacy alive. As you know, today is June 25th and it has been already 13 years since we have lost Michael Jackson. And usually this year, when this date goes by, is really sad, but I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to celebrate him instead of being upset or sad all day long. So today I'm kind of gonna give a story time of the lessons that he taught me and the important things that I have learned from him. And it's my personal experience, and it's something that is so important to me. And at the end, I'm going to be showing some special things that I've been kind of holding off for a little while, and I thought it was finally time to show. So if that interests y'all, please stay tuned. Now, growing up, and as a young kid, I always had this huge, vivid, imagination. I always dreamed big, and I always I loved art and drawing and everything. I would color all over the all over the walls, and I remember doing it when I was 3 and stuff. And I was just a very artistic kid, and I had great big goals and dreams and everything. And I was a really loving kid, and I really tried to be as nice as I could. And I was also kind of I don't want to say sheltered, because it wasn't I was being controlled or anything like that, but I grew up in a household where my parents wanted to keep us away from negativity and the bad stuff in the world. So I really, I was really an innocent kid. Everybody, all the kids do mischievous things, of course, but overall I would say I was truly an innocent kid. And I was also I also just loved being a kid, and I just had so much fun. And I was scared to grow up. I was scared to go past the age of 12, because I felt once you had the teen at the end of your name, not your name, but at the end of your age, you couldn't have fun anymore. Life became boring. Life became a chore, and you just had so much responsibilities that were on your shoulders and everything. So I was terrified of it. But like I said, I was super creative, and when I was around the age of 8, I discovered Michael Jackson for the first time for myself, and that just amplified everything completely for me, because learning about Michael Jackson and seeing him, I saw that the impossible became possible. He was busting down doors that I didn't even know could be open. And what drew me into him for the first time is watching his short films. And I actually kind of have a funny story about that. Oh, sorry, my microphone fell. I actually have a funny story about one of his short films, but I'm gonna share that for a different time. But yeah, so I'd seen his short films when I was first discovering him, and to me, he took things to a whole new, not even just to me, everybody can see that he took things to a whole new level with his short films. I had never seen anyone do anything on the level that he did. I had seen people do music videos where they were just singing on a cool background, or I don't know, it was just dancing or something, but he had a storyline to his stuff, and it was more than just music. He created a story, with important messages inside of it. And he truly revolutionized like entertainment as a whole. he was just so amazing to me, and that's what truly like drew me in at the beginning. And so that caught my attention, and seeing him dancing and his artistry and his performances and him doing the moonwalk for the first time and popularizing that, and the toe stand and his spins and everything, that drew me in. But I wanted to know more about him. I wanted to learn so much about him as an artist and everything. But with every artist, there's another side. There's that humanized side. There's that side of them when they're away, out of the studio, not performing, not creating music. It's that person. They're still a person. So I quickly began to see that he was a person. And this is what drew me in further into becoming like a mega Michael Jackson fan. I want to say it started when I would hear songs like Heal the World and Earth Song and We Are the World, They Don't Care About Us, and my most favorite one of all time, Man in the Mirror. That's when I began to see like, wow, he's a humanitarian and he has a heart for people. He has a heart for changing the world and doing so many great things to just bring positivity. And the reason why I love Man in the Mirror so much, like from the first time I ever like watched the video and heard the song, is, you know, for one, it sounds amazing. And also like every time he sings it, every time he like sung it and performed it, you could tell that he wasn't just reciting lyrics and he wasn't just, you know, just going through the motions. He made it different every single time. And each time it was like he was trying to convey the message, and he was trying to reach the hearts of the audience and the listeners and the viewers. And I saw that, and I don't know, it just did something. I always say it's like a spiritual experience. I don't know, that's the best way I can describe it. But another reason why I love the song is because like when I first heard it at that young age, I had never heard of anyone like, you know, obviously the song was written for him, but I had never heard of a song that talked about change and from that perspective, meaning like the fact, like, you know, so many people say, oh, the world needs to become a better place, we got to do better, we need to change the world. But how do we? How? And it really addressed the how. You know, the part where it says, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. We have to start with us doing better as people, us becoming better humans. We have to start on the inside and like taking out all that bad, and then actions will follow. Then we will make positive changes on the outside and do that type of stuff. So that song causes us to just reflect on who we are and our patterns. Like, are we doing the right thing? What are we believing? Are we believing lies? Are we feeding into the negativity? And that's why I just love it. And if there was any song, anytime like someone asks, what song do you think of when you think of Michael Jackson? It's Man in the Mirror, because he embodied that message throughout every day of his life up until his last day. So from there, I got to see that he was bigger than an artist, and there was more to him. And I was like, he's such a nice person, and seeing the way he treated people, and the fact that, you know, like me finding out about him when I was a kid and seeing the way he honored children and everything. As a kid, I felt unheard. I felt like, you know, I didn't have a voice, like, you know, what I had to say wasn't important. Like, you know, people just didn't want to listen to me, and like they didn't understand me. But I felt accepted by him. And it wasn't just like he made music for adults. He made music for people of all ages, and that's why so many people can identify with him and his messages and his songs and everything that he created, because he truly was someone that was for everyone. So just seeing that, I felt like he could understand me, and I felt like I had a place. you know like, oh god, this is getting deep. But yeah, so from then on, I had never been so like into an artist or a famous person the way that I was with Michael Jackson. And that carried on throughout my childhood into my teens. And I had some of my most happiest memories as a kid were from like involved him. Like when I turned 14, I had my first ever birthday party. Like, I had never really been able to invite friends over and just have a birthday party with a theme and everything. But when I turned 14, somehow I convinced my mom to let me have a Michael Jackson themed birthday party. And it was the greatest experience of my life. Like, one of the greatest experiences of my life. And at that time, I even began to learn about his family as a whole, and like seeing how they were all so humble and they were all so talented, and learning about them individually. And that's how I grew a love for that family. And that's why I support them like I do now. I would always tell myself I would never stop being a fan. I will never lose that love for Michael, for the Jacksons, the whole entire family, because they were just so amazing to me. But with life, you have ups and downs, and I never did lose my love for him. But I want to say when I turned 15, and I was like a sophomore, so it wasn't like right when I turned 15. It was 2017. Things turned, things changed. I was still a fan, but I started focusing on other things, and I started to become what I was afraid of: the loss of my childhood, the loss of the childlike wonder, and that spark. I was losing it. And I started to, man, teenage years, they're rough. But I want to say it was around the time of 2018, I hit a super duper low point, and I was trying to get through that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go up from here. Like, this isn't ever gonna happen again. Little did I know, I didn't realize that I was slipping further than that point. I thought that was my lowest point. It wasn't. We're fast forward to 2020. It was a horrible year. I would never go back. Never in my life would I ever go back to 2020, because it was terrible. And like, we couldn't leave our houses, and that was beginning in spring of 2020, like at least here in the States. And I think, okay, yeah, it was the end of March. That's when I stopped leaving the house. And for a whole entire month, I did not leave the house. I didn't even step foot on my porch, my driveway, to go check the mail. Like, it was so bad. And I was like stuck in my phone, on the internet, on social media, just feeding myself with so much negativity and everything. And I had I had made these friends, and like we had some good times and good laughs and everything. But I wasn't myself. I had lost myself. And I was still a fan, but I wasn't even like I wasn't even Michaeling anymore. I wasn't really truly a moonwalker. It was kind of like, oh yeah, Michael, he's the greatest, he's the GOAT. And you know, if I ever heard people come at me and like say some mess about him, I would defend him, best believe, especially in 2019. I would defend him, I would defend the family. I'd be like, don't play about them. But it wasn't like I was actively like watching the performances or watching the short films like I had used to. And I started becoming this negative person. I was a heathen. Like churches were shut down because, you know, couldn't leave the house and we had to distance ourselves. I'm trying to like refrain from saying certain words. But yeah, so my relationship with God and Jesus was just terrible. I was in a lot of drama, and like I said, I was such a loving kid, and I was just nice to everyone. That's just how it was. I try my best to be nice and do nice things, but I was completely did a flip around. I didn't care what I said. I let anything fly out of my mouth. I had no regard for people's feelings. I was a tit for tat type of person, like, oh, you crossed me wrong, or if I feel like you did me dirty, I'm gonna come at you even harder. Like, just being honest. And looking back at that, it was terrible. Like, when I was in that moment, I thought I was just like, you know, standing up for myself, but really, it was just ugly. And like throughout my childhood, my teenage years, I grew a love for I grew even more of a love for music and the arts and creativity and everything. So like I had did dance class, like a few dance classes when I was younger. I drew, I painted. I had went to like schools that cultivated like my art and helped me grow as an artist. And started piano. Love piano. It's my favorite instrument. I did photography. I wrote poems in 2018 when I thought I had hit my rock bottom. I would just write my feelings out and it was just free flowing. But but in 2020 I lost all my motivation. I had no vision. I had no goals. I was just caught up in the negative cycles of life. My camera bag was legit. I'm looking around because it's like I have it somewhere in here, but my camera bag was legit in the corner collecting dust. It was so bad. I hadn't touched the piano. It was collecting dust. I barely listened to music. I loved to read. I've always loved to read since I was super young. I wasn't reading. It was terrible. And I keep saying that, but it was, and I would never go back there. Like Jesus himself could say, go back to 2020, and I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I could not do it. I couldn't. And it got to a point, I want to say early 2021, where I just got tired of it all. I was tired of feeling like this dark person, this little heathen. And I was tired of trying to force things to happen that I thought were good for me that really weren't good for me. So I was like, you know what? I give up. I'm giving it up. I'm tired of it. So I gave it to God. And I was like, homie, I'm giving these issues to you. So you're going to have to help me out. You're going to have to help me out with this. And he did. And throughout those next few months, I started to, get back in my Bible. And that year he was teaching me about love, like godly love, like unconditional love, being kind, doing things unselfishly, to help out your brother, your neighbor, for their betterment. And I was like, wow. And I realized I was believing lies, and I was feeding into the world's hate, fueling the world's hate, just by my actions, just by my beliefs and the things I said. And it made me realize a lot in that short amount of time. So the part where Michael comes in, it was like September, and like I said, I love to read. So I had started stocking up on books again, and I had developed this huge tower of books sitting like off to the side of my room. And I was like, okay, I want to read a book. I didn't know what book to read though. So like I did one of those like at random chance things. I chose it at random. I don't know, it was flip a coin, pick a number, close your eyes and point to one. I don't know. But it landed on Moonwalk, Michael Jackson's autobiography. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me read this book. Because, don't cancel me, I hadn't read that book before. Like, I had got it a couple years ago, but I just never finished it or something. So I sat down and read it in its entirety. And in reading that, it took me back to my younger days, like my Michael Jackson days, like being a fan and the Jacksons as a whole. And I was like, wow, I miss this. I was like, how did I ever let this go? Like, I don't know, I felt so, like when I gave that all that negative stuff up, that's when I began to feel freedom. And I felt so free and light. I don't know, this is so cringy. But yeah, that's how I truly felt. And I was like, wow, let me just start watching his short films again. Let me just start listening to his music again. So that's what I did. And I was rediscovering him as an artist. I started to, and when I would listen to his music, I started to hear his music in a different way. I started to understand the songs better than I did when I was younger. I started to pick up on things that I hadn't picked up on before, and it just blew my mind all over again. Okay? Like, I was little 8-year-old Tori seeing Michael for the first time again, and I was like, wow. And of course, watching the Jacksons and seeing everything, I was like, how do you let this go? It was so crazy. And then I started to learn Michael as a human again, as a person. And when I tell you, I did not know Michael the way I do now. And it's so nice to see him from the human perspective more than the artist. And I identify with him more than ever because he loved the simplistic. Is that a word? Simplistic? Child. He loves the simple things in life. And that's how I was. That's how I always felt. And he was very childlike, like very Peter Pan-esque. And that's how he described himself, as a lost boy who never would grow up. And it wasn't like it was an immature thing. It was just he wanted to keep that wonder, and that's just who he was. The reason why I mentioned the part about reading about love in the Bible and learning about God's love is that I began to see that Michael embodied that. Okay? We live in a world where it's revenge, tit for tat. Someone do you wrong, you do them wrong back, and you just keep that cycle of hate and negativity going. But Michael was a person, even when somebody wronged him intentionally, he would say, I hope they do better. I hope they make better decisions next time. I hope they get the help they need. And I was just like, wow, so true. like that's how we all should, like, you know, that's how we should be. And just seeing him do that, I don't know, it really motivated me even more. It fueled me even more. And like, I had thought I lost myself. I had thought I lost my vision and my goals and everything, but it felt like my inner child was being dusted off. And one day I decided to get up and, you know, I was dumping out negative habits. So I decided to dump out things that I didn't need anymore. And so I was like cleaning my room and rearranging it and everything. And even this one day, there's this quote that from Michael's book, Dance in the Dream. It's his second book. And he says, I'm going to search for my star until I find it. It's hidden in the drawer of innocence, wrapped in a scarf of wonder. And I felt like that's what I was doing. I felt like I was rediscovering myself again and finding myself all over again after losing myself for so long. So I decided to pull out some paints and a canvas, and I incorporated that quote into a painting. And you know, it's not like Picasso or Van Gogh or anything, but it is symbolic for me. It is symbolic for me coming back to myself and coming back to the truth, to who I truly was, who God made me to be. Like when I had said I was afraid to grow up, I was afraid to like become a teenager and an adult, Michael taught me I didn't have to grow up. You know, of course, be childlike, not childish, like he said, but you know, keep that spark inside of you. Keep that wonder, because it'll keep you, when you do that, it'll keep you alive. It'll keep you focusing on the positive, the highs in life, instead of letting the small negative things get you down. Because when we grow up and when we become adults, I feel like we become so critical of ourselves. We start comparing ourselves to others, and we start feeling like, oh, why are we not here now? Why are we not on this level? Well, so-and-so, they're the same age as me, and they're all the way here. And we get so caught up in the cycles, like, you know, going to work, going home, going to work, going home, going to work, going home. And it just, I don't know, it just starts to drive us crazy, and we start losing that light in our eyes. But the thing we have to realize is that you don't have to compare yourself. Because when we were kids, all we wanted was to be happy. All we wanted to do was find the positive in everything. All we wanted to do was just have fun, and for everyone around us to be happy, so that we could create like a fun environment. You know, I still have times where I get lost in the same cycles of life, and I start, you know, I feel dry and I lose motivation. You know, that happens because that's part of the human experience, unfortunately. But I'm like, I don't try to stay there. I don't try to be stuck there, because I hate feeling that way. So, you know, of course, I talk to God about it. I pray, read my Bible. And another thing I do is I watch Michael. I listen to his music. I listen to the Jacksons, and I like watch their performances and everything. And those types of things are what inspire me. So it brings me back, and it makes me see like, okay, there is still more to this life. There is still more than these same old cycles, and it's not just about trying to go to work and worrying about like paying bills and making money and all that. It's the simple things. So, like I said, my advice is that if you ever have moments like that, revisit your childhood. Go back to the time that, you know, you were happier, and think, okay, how was I happier here? And oftentimes you might find like, oh wow, I was going through this at the time. I remember I was dealing with this and I made it through. And it can give you that push, and it can give you that motivation to keep going. And, you know, just like Michael said, that inner child is still in you. It's still there. You just got to reach in and you got to find it, and you will find your spark. It's never gone. It's still there deep inside. I truly appreciate all the lessons that he has taught me as far as making the world a better place and myself making me a better person and choosing to be a better human. And those lessons, and that it's okay to still be childlike, and you don't have to grow up and get caught up in the same old dry patterns of adulting. And even though he's gone, those lessons and messages that he's spoken and sung within his songs, those will remain timeless. And he said that, you know, he never wanted to die. He wanted to live forever. But we all know, like, death is inevitable. But he also said, you need to create something in order to live forever. You need to create something that does. And his music lived forever. His short films live forever. Everything he's taught me, like, the way it goes on forever is me passing it on to other people and me sharing that kindness that I learned from him. That's how it goes on forever. So I promise this is the last thing I'm gonna say. After we pass, like, our actions that we did on earth, the things that we said, it could still affect people. So let's make sure that we are doing the right thing, that we are being kind, we are being positive, and we are being loving. Like I said, do everything with love. With love. And that is how we make the world a better place. And that is how we live on. So that's all I wanted to say. But stay tuned, because I don't know, I'm excited about it. It's something that's special to me. So I'm gonna show it. So like I had said before, Michael was my muse for a lot of things I've created. And that art piece I talked about painting, with the quote about searching for his star and innocence and everything. So I wanted to show like the artwork, like the Michael Jackson artwork I've done throughout the years. So I guess I'm just starting chronological order. So this is the first piece I did. I actually did this one the year I kind of like fell off and like being a fan of everything. But so here's this, and it's like a black and white version of his eyes on the Dangerous cover. And I don't know, I kept the reference picture for whatever reason, and I don't know, this was like only my second painting, but I feel like I did so good. Like, I mean, it's not accurate, I could do a little bit some stuff better. And I did it for an art project. I don't know if I said that already. And my teacher was like, okay, this is your final, this is how you get your final grade, do a work of art. So I was like, oh, let me pay Michael. Next one I got, when I tell you, I was doing all the art mediums, like, or medias. Oh my god, I need to go back to school. I started ceramics, well, this is the only year I did ceramics, when I was a senior. And we had like this project where we had to create a tile and design it and all that. And I did Michael. Well, I did that symbol, that estate symbol. I don't know, I was really obsessed with it. And I mean, it's kind of like wonky, but it was my first ceramic piece. So I'm proud of it. And you know what's crazy? Like I said, I fell off from being a fan. But I was creating these things during that time. So I mean, like, I don't know, the love never left. I'll say that. The next one, this one is actually an interesting story. It's another tile piece, and I don't know if that was the assignment to do another tile piece, or it was just like, oh, we had to have like a certain amount of pieces by the end of the year, and I didn't finish. To be completely honest, I didn't finish. And I had started this one, and I had did the outline and the design and everything, but I never got to like paint it or do the color and all that. And my art teacher, he's so nice. He was like, yeah, you can always come back and finish at any time, even after I graduated. But here's this one. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to tell y'all about the interesting story. So I didn't add the color to this one. Like I said, I had left it, and I hadn't been back to that school in like 3 years. So I went back and I went to go see him, because I was like, I remember I had this piece still there, and he was like, yeah, you can just go in the room and go look for it. So I did, and my friends were in there with me. I was like, y'all, it says bad, and it's like in graffiti, and has a spray paint can. It's on a brick wall, and I couldn't find it because I was looking for a piece that was like this color, like, and like not colored or anything. And my friend points down and she's like, is this it? And you know, it's this, of course. I'm like, who finished it? Because I didn't finish it. I didn't do this. I'm like, did I do it? Because I didn't remember. So I found my teacher in the hallway again, and I was like, yo, like, who did this? Like, which one of your students did this? And I was like, ooh, let me find out it's a fellow moonwalker. We can be homies. He was like, actually, I did. And I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, I did it, and I finished it because I wanted to do it kind of like as an example for the class. I was like, you know Michael? I was like, you know about the Bad album? He was like, I didn't know what that is. So I was like, how you know how to do the colors? How did you know? This meant, the only reason this man gave me was, I just went with what you would have went with. How do you know? Like, how do you know? And I don't, like, he did that in red, he did the black, and then he did the spray paint. Yeah, maybe I did paint this. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm confused. But yeah, I like this. It's better than the shaping wise, it's better than the other one. If this mic fall one more time. The next one is my special one. It's my very special one. It's the one that I had mentioned doing. And is this, I don't know if y'all can read that. My handwriting is kind of janky, but yeah, this is the one. And I had painted Michael as a little kid, and I illuminated him because that represents like the spark, your childhood, that childlike innocence. So yeah, that's that. I gotta paint the edges though, but I would love to hang this up and like to look at it as a reminder every day. The next ones, okay. I'm excited to show these because I've been holding off on showing these, and I was waiting for the right time. What better time to do this now? I guess I'm somewhat of a graphic designer now. So I created stickers. I don't know what made me want to create stickers, but I did. And I have three like physical stickers. And here's the first one. Technically I didn't design it, but it was like with that profile pic editing app, and I liked the way it looked, so that's what I did. I just edited the picture, and yeah. The next one, I like Polaroids and like vintage stuff, so I did this Polaroid design, and I put Bad Tour 1987 1989 at the bottom of it. And I would like to, I don't know, people say, oh my goodness, it looks like an actual Polaroid because there's like a pattern. I don't know if it's going to show it. It's having focusing issues right now. Oh, this one's my favorite. I love this so much. I don't know how I did it. I didn't know I could even do stuff like this, but I was like, I want to do something with like colors. Like, I want to do something like pop art and different colors and everything, but I didn't know what I was doing, so I was just winging it. So here's this one. It's human nature, and I have like the city scene, like the New York skyline, and I have human nature written in the top, and it's like 3 different Michaels in 3 different colors. And I did like the Big Apple and I did it as like the moon. So yeah, I really love this, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with these stickers. I might put them on something, or I might just keep them as is. I also did another sticker design, and it was for the Victory Day, and here it is. I'm gonna just show it off my phone because I don't have it. I haven't gotten this one printed yet, and the font, I heard like people say it's kind of hard to read, but it says Happy Victory Day at the top, and it has this quote, lies run sprints but the truth runs marathons. And put innocent, and then if you can see it, I put like a collage of the newspaper reports that say not guilty, Michael Jackson found not guilty, and yeah. Oh, and also says innocent, but y'all probably seen that. One of my most recent designs that I would love to get turned into a t-shirt is, I've always had this design idea, but I didn't know how to execute it. But I'm going to like an MJ event soon, and I was like, ooh, I want to wear like, I want a cool shirt, and I was like, I want it to be something that I made, and this is what I created. I really hope these are not showing backwards. It says Moonwalker, and it has like the moon behind him, and like the galaxy and the stars, and I don't know, that's what Michael always remind me of, like the moon, the stars, and it keeps falling. But yeah, I think that's the last thing that I have. I would love to create more in the future, possibly even get more designs turned into t-shirts. That's all. This is just my way of celebrating him, celebrating his legacy, and you know, try not to be sad and stuff, which, you know, I'm gonna still get sad most likely. But thank you, Michael, for the inspiration, for the lessons, and for your kindness, and making me feel like I had a place. So stay tuned, y'all, because there's gonna be more Jackson's videos, of course. I have so many ideas. I actually have a series that's been in the works for a while that I just haven't got to start yet. But yeah, that's all. I hope you guys are okay today. Take it easy, and as always, stay tuned for more.